Okay, so in our last video what we were looking at was how we can use if-else statements, and we got as far as to work out how we can actually get three different outcomes based on our input. So we were typing in a number and there were three possible outcomes. If the number was more than 0, we were going to print your name is greater than 0, which is nice, and then we had a nested if statement inside this next else statement. So if it was greater than 0, that's what would be said. If the number, however, equaled 0, we were going to print your number equals 0, else if it was less than 0, which is the only other option, we were going to print your number is less than 0. Now this is all very well and good, but if you have a program where you want to have more than three options, three possible outcomes, for example 4, 5, 6, 7 up to 100 or more, this will get very, very messy, because what will happen is that inside every else statement we'd have a new if else statement. So what we'd find is that our code sort of slants along the screen, and as soon as you get to sort of 6 options or more, it gets very messy indeed. Now there's a nice simple way to sort that out, and what it does is it combines, in Python we can actually combine this if else statement into what's called an ELIF statement. So get rid of the S and the E, and all we do is we simply put the EL and the IF together. And the nice thing about this is that we don't need to have all of those sort of indentations which go across the screen. So here we're going to say that if number 1 is greater than 0, we're going to print these two statements. Else if number 1 is equal to 0, we're going to print this statement. Else we're going to print this statement. So if we just try and save that and run this program, let's see what we get. Type in your first number, 71. Number is greater than 0, which is nice. External run. Type in your number, 0 equals 0, and let's see if that final option will be carried out here. So if we went -1, your number is less than 0. So here you can see that we've got an ELIF statement to combine a nested if statement, or an else if statement I should say. Okay, so this is great. So now what we can do is we can use ELIF statements for multiple options. So it might be that we want to produce a mood program. So it could be, let's do it this way, let's say int type in how you are feeling as a number. What I mean by that is 1 equals sad, to 3 equaling happy. In fact, let's go as far as to say 5. So 1 is sad, 5 is happy, and everything else in between. So let's close that, and there we go. So if the person writes in that they are feeling number 1, then we can say something like, sorry, you are not feeling great. Else, if number 1 equals 2, we can say, not having a good day, question mark. Then we can have another ELIF statement. So else, if number 1 equals 3, we could have, so you are feeling okay. Else, if someone types in a number 4, let's tidy that up, I'll print glad you are feeling good today. Else, in fact I'm not going to do an else yet, and I'll explain why in a minute. We could have ELIF number 1 equals 5. Wowee, you are feeling amazing. That is great news. Okay, so if number 1 is typed in, this statement's displayed. If 2, this is displayed. 3, this one. 4, this one. 5, this one. And I've kept this else statement. And the reason why I've done that is because I want to do what's called validate the inputs. So I obviously want any input to be accepted, any integer to be accepted, and I also want to have an output for any input that was actually typed in. So they could type 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, but there's nothing stopping them typing in a 0, a -1, -2 or 6 and above. So if they were to type in any other number from 1 to 5, then what I could do is I could capture that with this else statement, and obviously I could print in something like you didn't type in a valid number, silly person. Okay, so if I was to save that and run and see what happens, so we've got our program here. Type in how you're feeling as a number. 1 is sad, up to 5 happy. So if I type in a 3, so you're feeling okay. So that worked. Let's do another one. Let's type in 5. Wow, you're feeling amazing. That is great news. And let's try the last one. Let's try an invalid entry. So let's try in something like -22. You didn't type in a valid number, silly person. Okay, so it's captured the fact that I haven't typed in a number from 1 to 5, and I've still got an output as opposed to the program crashing.